It was the most destructive river flood in the history of the United States. The Mississippi River flood affected 750,000 people, and it left people stranded for days without any food or water. Around 500 people died from this event, and many others were injured as well. The flood caused approximately $1 billion lost in damages, and at the time, that was one-third of the federal budget. The 1927 Mississippi River flood was caused by heavy rain over a long period of time that resulted in the river to have an overabundance of water flow. The flood was driven by the large amount of rain that was occurring in Mississippi. The flood effects were seen from the Appalachian Mountains to the Rockies. The Mississippi River stayed in the flood stage for a record 153 days, and civilians were not able to return to their homes until late August and early September. The river had swelled to approximately 80 miles wide and flooded around 16 million acres of land, displacing nearly 640,000 people all the way from Illinois to Louisiana. The flood reached depths of 30 feet for an area of 27,000 square miles.
The flood caused livestock and crops to get destroyed by the heavy flows of water. The flood left the agriculture in complete destruction, so the workers had been forced to move to work in the horrible conditions from the flood to try to fix what was lost. It caused people to put a pause on work and focus for the survival for them and their family. The U.S. Army engineers were tasked with taming the river. To prevent any future flooding, the federal government had built a system of levees and floodways, making sure they were the longest in the world. Refugee camps were established in order for the people to still have shelter and food. Among these camps, there are great hostility among different races. The inequality has shown when the whites would get the first servings on all the goods, and the minorities were stuck with all the leftovers. African Americans were also forced to work in the crop fields right after the flood in the horrible conditions. An African American was actually shot for not wanting to work in the crop fields. These events caused African Americans to move up north and start to work up there, and their political views went from Republican to Democratic.